Yes, it is getting to live. Yes, I'm okay. It shows me I'm live on the computer screen. So I'm going to share my screen so that we actually have a glimpse of today's presentation. So I hope you can see the slides now. So today's topic is the surprise topic for today, as I said. So in this, I'll be making a bridge between the practice and the finance management. This, of course, is the 13th session, a bonus session for you all on a Sunday evening. As usual, all my presentations always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. So this day had to be special. Yes, wherever finance word comes, my dad always has to be there because he has been the biggest person. Apart from my MBA finance, of course, that was their baseline for that. But whatever I have say been learning in my life on finance, if I'm say speaking before you, it is because of finance. I shared with you in the last session itself, I guess. I was speaking in Vapi, Gujarat on last 30th June. It was a Sunday. So IDA Vapi Valsad branch. So when I was about to finish, I just saw my phone. Just after I finished, I saw my phone that he had passed away in the afternoon at around 3:30 or so. So I dedicated this Tuesday also, 30th June, just 4-5 days back. So as a special day, where I dedicated or made it as the day of education, where I delivered all my participants a lot of knowledge in my WhatsApp groups, the free and the paid both. So this is my brief biodata. You all know about it. So we are here as a part of the 10-day bounce back challenge. So I have been assigned 3 topics like other mentors, but this is the bonus session I wanted to take because, as I said, you'll feel slightly awkward when I'm, say, dealing with the practice management or the SWOT analysis on first and directly meeting you for the, say, the balance sheet part on the 8th of June. So 7 days gap and actually no link between for some of you. Maybe for me, there are links, but then there might not be certain established ones. So I decided to take this one. So obviously the occasion is the biggest one for me as well. I actually celebrate Guru Purnima. It is a homage to all my teachers who have taught me that courtesy them I am here. And one of my teacher is Dr. Rajiv Verma sir as well. So of course, not to forget my dad. So this is my tribute to all my gurus today. And the biggest one is you, the audience, because I believe that this session belongs to you because of your feedback in the icebreaker challenge, I have been here. Because many of people who had given their feedback actually wanted to learn the finance part in the say scenario that what to do. So today's topic deals with Dr. Vaishali, Dr. Shruti were very closest to these. Yes, a couple of you were as well. So treatment charges in today's times, COVID times, how much to raise? And this was actually a live feedback. So I always, really speaking, I always value feedback a lot. And I don't mind even if it is, say, a combination of bouquets and brickbats. I welcome both of them. So let's get on a short journey to actually tell you what exactly is the fundamental I follow it. So a series of 5 articles was published in Dental Tribune also by Dr. Rajiv Chitgopi sir. Uh, Dr. Rajiv Chitgopi and I go a long way back. 2006, I actually say, uh, 2006 actually, Dr. Rajiv, I'm sorry, just a minute. Uh, just a minute, please. So I'm sorry, I was a bit cut off in between. Okay. So Dr. Rajiv Chitgupi and me got the same award in the year 2006. It was the best IDA member in the country below 30 years of age. I won the first prize, he won the second prize, and luckily, or say the conference was in my hometown Ludhiana only, the IDA HO conference I'm talking about. So we are almost same age, but he's gone a long way ahead of that. And yes, he's carved out a bigger niche. And as Dr. Rajiv Verma says, he is a genius, no doubt about it. So the today's topics will be how much to charge, uh, which procedure charges can remain stable, and does my competitor price affect my charges, and calculation of each small thing for which we never got educated. So this is the thing we really need to understand. So kindly pay attention. So meeting controls actually getting, I'm getting notifications from Zoom in between. Just a minute. Okay, so let's resume. So I always say, people who know me, that my presentation of finance begins with the part that unless you know your figures and numbers, the growth is actually not possible. You can't measure it. It is a growth chart without any tangible thing. So any figures, any numbers are always very helpful in, say, giving us the optimum result part. And the life is changing in the post-COVID era, and figures or numbers are much more important than before. How, we'll see in the, say, coming slides. So because the healthcare costs have been rising, and it's really the time to reboot and reset your clinics for economics. How and why? So I'll just give you a common scenario. Let's say, presume that you were charging 1,000 for a composite or a light cure filling or a restoration, whatever you can call. You were there, and I just want you to add the bare minimum cost of 2 PPEs to it. Of course, your other disinfection and sanitization protocols added. So let's suppose you were charging 1,000 before, and if you're doing 400 or 600 dentistry, depends upon you. And you add just a bare minimum cost of 1,000 per that armamentarium for you and your assistant, the bare minimum. So can you now charge 3,000 for that restoration? If you're charging 1,000 in the pre-COVID era, the simple answer would be a no, because it isn't feasible, it isn't practical, and it is not actually choosable. So if you have to choose between saving your lives and saving some money, what will you choose? Obviously saving your life. And exactly, we are going in the survival mode in today's time. The unfortunate part is that the escalating cost leads to an inverse care law. So it is actually a pun on the, say, inverse care law of physics. It was proposed by Julian Tudor in Hart in 1971. It says that the availability of good medical care tends to vary inversely with the need for it in the population served. This operates more completely where medical care is most exposed to market forces, and less so where such exposure is reduced. So that is actually, as I said, it is. Am I not audible? Actually, getting a message from Dr. Sushma. Am I audible? Just put in the comment section of the chat section if I'm audible.
Sir. Audible.
Okay, great. So Dr. Sushma, please check the network at your end, ma'am. So as I said, this is a pun on the inverse care law of physics. So which actually means that in the words of Julian Tudor Hart, that healthcare has become a commodity, that it gets distributed just like a champagne. And that is where rich people will get lots of it and poor people don't get any. Unfortunately, this is the scenario of today's, say, population or today's society. And inequality in healthcare is the worst of all. Imagine, yes, I am not going to criticize any government over it, but yes, any government, any for that matter, would say devote more percentage of their budget to defense and other means, and healthcare is most likely the neglected child. And sometimes even we can say sotela beta or sotela beti, whatever. This is the logic actually which is there since the time, say, till 2013 or 14. Around about 0.9%, less than 1% was devoted of the GDP was devoted to the healthcare budget. Now it has risen about 1.7 to 1.8 or 1.9, still less than 2%. That is where the problem seriously comes. So the calculation of value is an important part. We have to calculate and manage the cost parts, because we are actually in the scenario where we have to understand that the incomes are going to go down. They are definitely going to go down whenever we open, and we are not going to get the full value. So what does that, and on the other hand, our costs are going to go up, courtesy the newer armamentarium, courtesy the sanitization protocols, or other things added. And at this point, I'd like to mention that whenever you buy a equipment or anything like a HEPA filter or anything like that, negative ion generator or fogging machines, you don't add the total cost of it to your total expenses. Only a portion of cost is added, which we call as in our language as the WDV or the written down value. And in the common man language, we know it as the depreciation. So let's suppose you bought a thing for 1 lakh. Let's suppose most medical and dental equipment come with a WDV or the written down value of 15%. That means 15,000 will be taken as the cost to be added in your expenses for that year. Luckily, we are in the first half of the year. And first half of the year, if I speak from the financial year point of view, financial year begins on April 1st. We don't begin the financial year on 1st Jan. So accordingly, if I just say correlate to this statement, we have to understand that incomes are going to go down and the expenses are going to go up. Remember the theory of relativity by Einstein. He said, if I equate in a very simple language to you, two trains going in 180 say at the speed of 80 kilometer per hour in one direction and the other one in another direction. The person in the A train will feel that the other train is going at 160 kilometer per hour and his train is stagnant. This is known as theory of relativity. If I were to explain it in a simple manner. So this is the way. If your costs go up and your revenue goes down, you have to remember that you are actually carrying home less. So what are the 4 most common reasons that dentists don't take out time actually? Okay, just a minute. I'll just shift the mouse. Okay, I think I'm say audible than more than before. Change the mic orientation right now. So the 4 most common reasons that dentists don't take time out to determine their percentage of overheads and expenses. So I'm not going to go into the detail part because I believe that overheads is still that portion which you really need to understand in a different time zone altogether. You need to know the basics first. So what I'm going to tell you, very, very basic part of price raise and you're calculating the overheads part. So what are the 4 most common reasons? The common Indian habit of procrastination, of delaying it, postponing it, just too lazy. Then we don't have the acumen needed to calculate the same. And then time hiding it. People who kept on postponing their work in lockdown, they simply got the answer that time was never the reason, their attitude was the reason. So if you were able to finish your jobs, you need to understand that part. So if you calculate your monthly cost, you'll come to a common funda that the common business principle is always to decrease the overhead. And how does a normal company or a factory will do that? Increasing the production by working more hours, by improving scheduling part. I'm sorry, the couple of slides got ahead. So increasing the production by working more hours, improving scheduling, and by increasing the selling price, which actually say will not work for a dentist. Why do I say that? Because we are supposed to lessen our work hours, put in a gap between our appointments, keep on working in a schedule that we actually say gain more out of those working hours. So technically hours will be less, work will be less comparatively. If I talk in terms of man hours, and revenue will be less, but the cost will be more. So it is a good principle if we decrease overhead by increasing the production. If you have to meet the demand, obviously we can't say supposed to work till late night. Our own family will also be say encroached. So it is a good principle. But for us, sorry, no. It defies the logic of Pareto principle. Most of you must be knowing about the Pareto principle of 80-20, but then I'll just brief in just a short thing in between so that you actually know that what exactly is the Pareto principle all about. So the Pareto principle of 80-20 says that your 80% income comes from your, say, 20% of your patients, and your remaining 20 comes from your 80% of patients. If I were to simplify these things, I'll just explain you. Let's suppose you're earning 1 lakh, grossing means the total collection. If you're grossing 1 lakh from 100 OPD of patients, just taking the number for convenience, you'll be surprised to find that 80,000 of that amount is coming from 20 patients out of 100. And the remaining 20,000 comes from 80 patients out of those 100. So what exactly it is? We have to identify those 20% potential candidates. Dr. Manish gave you a wonderful way to communicate. And at that point, I lay out a lot of importance on the part of first consultation in dentistry. I have a book published on that also, on first consultation. So I actually value that part, because from there you actually understand the patient's needs and wants. And once you learn to do that, obviously coupled with the effective listening part, once you say know how to understand patients' needs and wants, believe me, sky is the limit for you. 1 CR, 5 CR, 2 CR, the things we were talking, those are just will be numbers after that. So you have to know 80% profits come from 20% of customers, and 80% complaints also come from 20% of your customers or patients, whatever you can say. So 80% of profits come from 20% of time you spend, and 80% of sales also come from 20% of your products. So 80% sales are also made by 20% of sales staff for the ones who are in marketing. So the value of the Pareto principle is that we have to focus on the 20% that really matters. So of the things you do in the day, only 20% are the ones which really matter. And there we have to actually say, look into those accounts. It is a smart age, and we have to really understand that 20% effort will produce 80% of the results. One of my friends says very fondly, human beings are turning dumber day by day. Yeah, no offense to anyone, but he says human beings are turning dumber day by day. The gadgets and the equipment are becoming smarter. So we have to learn to identify and focus on those 20% which are giving us 80% results. How do we do that? How is it related to treatment charges? So when we have more footfall, we actually say we see the result. What we do, we start allocating and spending lesser time with each patient at the initial visit. And that means we don't actually present them with the complete treatment options or the complete plan, or say rushing the patient with the say over, or either giving them the overwhelming information that they are too flooded with that, or they are say given an incomplete plan. Actually say slaying the principle of first consultation in dentistry, which I am very fond of doing. So the result is a fewer turn up of patients. Remember, this thing has a link. As I say, when we have more footfall, it may be result of our advertising, marketing, or whatever ways we are employed. I always say it very fondly that Amir Khan, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, Akshay Kumar, Hrithik, all these guys have a face value. And what they do is actually they pull in the crowd on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday into a multiplex. And what does that mean? The crowd is pulled. Of course, आज के ज़माने में तो picture अगर बुरी हो तो Saturday को भी पिट जाती है. But let's talk about the conventional times, the pre-COVID times I'm talking. At least their face value ensured the money part in the first 3 days. But Monday onwards, the content does the talking. And if the content of the movie is good, it'll run. Otherwise, it'll fall down to 10% or 20% collection on a Monday. Of course, the ticket rates also go down on a Monday than a weekend rate. So what I mean to say is that once the patient steps into your clinic, your advertising, marketing, promotion, everything ceases to act. And once it ceases to act, your internal marketing tools take over. And how you behave, how you talk, how you say convey to the patient, and how, and coupled with your staff's contribution in that, they start taking a role or say precedence over every other thing. Yes, your treatment protocols are definitely important in that. You can't say escape from that. So what we mean is that when we start doing these things, or a rush digest, or not giving treatment plans, we actually say have fewer turn up of patients, or we call it as the poor conversion ratio. If I say in a say skating language, it is known as the rollerblading method of dentistry. Rollerblading method are the inline skates which are used to decrease weight. Yes, they are temporarily successful. You may lose more weight by skating, inline skating, than jogging. But yes, it is not a long-term method. It carries a bigger risk of injury, especially if you're not properly trained. So this thing will, the working of say more production hours, as I mentioned, may lead to a higher production, and in case of inline skating may lead to a nasty fall also, and like breaking a ligament. And you know that ligament injury can say heal up to even 3 to 6 months. And what are the side effects of also if you are say falling to that? You may have high overheads, fatigue, poor health, and unhappiness in your personal and professional life when you really understand the numbers. Similar to today's working as we are in today's times, say churning out one patient after another sometimes. Again, these things are, I'm talking on the pre-COVID era. So what to do in post-COVID era, I'll be coming up in the say coming up slides. So how to increase? This is the formula I stumbled upon in my setup because I calculated the cost part in that. So we have named it as a say Mr. formula for Mr. India or Mr. Indian dentist. Remember the 1987 Anil Kapoor movie? I'm a Bollywood fan. You must have judged by now. So in that movie, the invisible formula was the watch which Anil Kapoor was wearing. But yes, still the Mogambo kept on saying, "वो formula मुझे दे दो." So this is the way we have designed this formula. So how to do it? This is by following the 80-20 principle yet again. So we have to first analyze where does that majority 80% of your income come from? Which services are the ones we are doing predominantly? Why do I say that? Because one can be a periodontist, and the earning majority would be coming from Crown and Bridge. So the start has to be from the minute aspects. We have to arrive at a big breakdown cost. Where do our 80% revenue is coming from? So again, the homework is up to you. I'll be giving you homework in the end of course. So break down first to arrive at those services which are contributing to 80% category. And believe me, these will just be a handful or a countable services. And those falling in the 20% income category would be a lot one in number. So again, 80-20, if those contributing to 80,000 out of the 1 lakh, if you have grossed the figure we presumed at the start. So as I mentioned, you can be a specialist in one, but you may be earning from another. So remember this part. So what do you have to do? You have to go back to your record keeping and check your yearly figures of cost. Add your new cost. What I have ascertained and calculated at my figure, it might be a variation of 2 to 3% overall in all those factors which I've taken into account, all kind of factors. Of course, again, I have not taken the full cost. As I mentioned, I've taken the depreciation only into account. So your overall cost for any clinic who is going to follow all protocols, of course, you have to. If you don't follow the protocols, you will be left behind in the race. So if you say your 25% are going to be your increased costs. So at this point of time, I wish that you all take out your pens and papers so that you have actually the those things with you so that you can calculate when I speak on the further lines and I give you the calculation part. So if your 25% are going to be increased costs, how do we envisage the scenario? How do you decide the raise? Do you make a raise in all your services in the clinic? My answer would be a big no. Why do I say that? Because as I said, we are not getting to smartness. We have to say indulge in smartness in this part. And how do my formula will tell you? Do not raise all your services by the escalated charge, but just those handful of 20% services, which you can count are contributing to the 80,000 out of the presumed 1 lakh, the figure we assumed. So contributing to those 80% revenue. And in the meanwhile, you can actually do it. So a simple formula would be for my side, 25 to 30% raise in the 80% contribution categories. Those handful of services which you're doing the most and which are giving you the most revenue, you increase 25 to 30%. Let's take an average of that, 27.5%. Then you give a rise of 10 to 15% in the 20% category so that your average profit will be still 25%. How? If you take the say average of 10 to 15, it will be 12.5. Now this is where you need to actually calculate the percentage contribution. Kindly mute whosoever's audio is on, please. So because whosoever actually raises his whole services, it might send a wrong message to the target audience that the doctor has gone, say, totally expensive. Nothing wrong in it. We are having our costs increased. We need to do that. But yes, you have to be smart. The message should be sent in such a manner in the services where your actually revenue is flowing in. Let's suppose you're doing one denture a month and it is not contributing to your, say, income of 80% category, if I may say so. What benefit will you have by raising it by 30%? Nothing. You'll just gain, let's suppose you're charging 10,000 for a denture. I'm talking again for the small to medium cities or tier 2 or tier 3 cities, not talking about the bigger cities. Just give me an example of that ways. So if you raise 30%, that would be 3,000. 13,000 would not be a big amount. If 3,000 will not be a big amount in your overall contribution of the revenue. But yes, the ones who are getting the denture maybe send a wrong message to your target group otherwise. So that is where you have to understand this. So I'll give you a few practical scenarios, pre-COVID, post-COVID. So just keep your pens and papers ready. So first of all, I will tell you to take the percentage wise scenario. As I mentioned, 25 to 30%. I'll go back to this slide. 25 to 30%. If the average comes out to be 27.5, if we take the 80% contribution, 27.5 into 80 will be 22.5 percentage, 22% roughly. And 12.5, the 10 to 15 average is 12.5. And if you take the 20% contribution of that 12.5 of 20 would be 2.5. So your actual raise is 22 plus 2.5, 24.5 percent. You can keep noting it and keep noting your queries. I'll take up all of them at the end if any point at this juncture is not clear. So let's take up a few scenarios keeping this thing into mind. I've rounded off the 24.5 to 25 for the ease of calculation. I've just rounded off many figures there will be coming. So assume the average revenue of the clinic is 1 lakh. The gross income or the gross collection I'm talking before the expenses. So just listen to these scenarios and then I'll take up the queries one-on-one in the post presentation scenario. So assume your overheads are in the range of 50% for an average clinic. They may be 40, they may be 60. I presume 50% over here because most clinics fall into this range. And why is this important? Because most of the private practitioners who are having a single source of income from their clinic via their clinic only, if they're following the presumptive system of taxation, they have to presume their expenses are 50% as well. So I've taken that figure into account. So the 50,000 is their expenses. So let's presume in a normal scenario pre-COVID, the take-home income is 50,000. And that is the income from where you will do all your expenses, all your personal life expenses, all your retirement expenses, all your savings, all your investments, whatever. Just presume this amount. So the gross 1 lakh minus 50,000. Okay, let's move ahead to scenario 2. Assume that you add your increased expenses in this. As I mentioned, average 25% expenses would be increasing. As I mentioned, the variation can be 2 to 3% only. So if your increase of 25% of 50,000 will be 12,500, you can go on calculating side by side if you want. So this will be the portion which will be added to your total expenses. Yes, there are factors like fixed cost and variable cost. I have not presumed that. I'll be telling you in the end why didn't I do that. So total expenses now become 62,500. So if you don't increase your charges, you were grossing, let's assume you are grossing the same amount, 1 lakh. Your expenses have increased by 25%. So your net income would be down to 75%. 1 lakh minus 62, you get 37,500. You were carrying home 50,000, a fall of 25%. So above is the revenue being generated in the immediate post-COVID scenario. As I said, it is highly unlikely to happen, at least immediately in the next 2 to 3 months, whenever you resume fully. That is my assumption. But yes, I might be wrong. So let's take a scenario 2 where we presume that our monthly revenue or gross collection is falling by 25%, which is a highly likely possibility that you don't drop much, but you just drop by 25%. So we presume that I've just taken the round of figures for the ease of or simplification or the say ease of calculation part. So if your 25% income is down, that means you're from 1 lakh, you deduct 25,000, your total income or say gross is 75,000. And that means your overheads are still in the range of 50%. As I presumed, if we say we have decreased the income proportionately, sorry, the expenses proportionately in concomitant with the revenue. If they were say 50,000 for 1 lakh, they are 37,500 for 75,000. I'm not yet added the added cost. So let's presume you add a 25% of the increase, which we presume will be say applicable to us in the post-COVID scenario. 9375, 25% of 37,500 is 9375. I just rounded it off to 9,500. So what were your expenses in the last? 37,500. Then we add 9,500 to this. Your total expenses will be 47. So what will be your carry home? Carry home would be 75 minus 47. It will be 28,000. So even with a fall of 25% in income and increase in expenses, which we are all bound to get, the theory of relativity comes to play. 25% income down, but you carry home 44% less. 44% less than 50,000, which we have presumed in the start. So even with a 25% fall in income, your carry home will reduce by 44%. Let me take up another scenario. 33% fall, 1/3 fall is there, which is again quite a possibility. So the revenue is down by 33% from 1 lakh to 67,000. Again, rounded off for the ease of calculation. So we take 50% of these only. Obviously, as I said, there are many fixed costs which will not go down. But yes, I wanted to make it simplified to make all of you understand. So that is the reason I have made it 33,500, the 50% of this amount, 67,000. Let's apply the 25% increase of the cost. Again, it comes out to be 8,375, rounded it off to 85. Then you add the total cost, 33,500, as we had calculated here, and now added into that. So the total expenses is 42,000. So your carry home will be 67 minus 42, 25,000. For every 33% fall in income, your carry home will reduce by 50% if you don't increase. These are the scenarios if you are not increasing, I'm telling you. Because unless I tell the negative, you won't appreciate the positive. So let me give you the last scenario in this. Let's assume that your income falls by 50%, which is a remote possibility, but not unlikely possibility, I'll say. So from 1 lakh, you're grossing now 50,000, but your say overheads are in the range of 50%. Again, we'll presume of that 50% of 50,000 is 25,000. So again, add your 25% of increase, which we intend to do post-COVID, 6250, sorry. So again, rounded off for the ease of calculation. Add to this 31,500. So your carry home will be 18,500. So if your income falls by 50%, your carry home will reduce by 63%. You just carry home 37% of your normal income. Isn't that alarming? So what to do? How to do that? What is the solution? The coveted formula, the formula for Mr. Indian or Mr. India dentist. So again, as I told you in the beginning before I began this scenario, so that you are at least known to that, 80% of your paying services, the handful of services which are contributing to 80% category. As I said, the average of 25, these ones have to be escalated by 25 to 30. So the average comes out to be 27.5. So the contribution raised because the off percentage to 80 would be 22%. If you take 27.5 of 80, it will be 22%. Similarly, for your normal services, 10 to 15% raise, average is 12.5. 12.5 contribution of 20 would be 2.5. So adding up the two above, 22 plus 2.5 will be 24.5 or close to 25% increase in revenue. So what you have done is actually you have try to balance out the increase in cost, but what effect does it make? We'll take all those 4 scenarios once again. Just try to understand these things. If you are raising close to 25% again, but only by a smart raise in just a few services, the normal 10 to 15 is the normal average annual raise which every one of us should indulge in. So let's look at those scenarios now by applying the Mr. India formula. So we presume 1 lakh of our income. If we raise the charges by this formula, 24.5% was the average part. We apply to it, again rounded off, we get a revenue close to 1,25,000. Again, I'll be presuming the same scenarios: 100% income, 75% income, 66% income, and 50% income. Just try to understand these scenarios once again in the similar fashion as we dealt with the 4 scenarios before. So the clinic's overhead would be again in the range of 50%, because for this we have to take the annual revenue into part before the service is raised. So 50,000 are the expenses. And yes, if they increased, we have added the increase also in this, as we did in the first scenario. So our expenses are increasing. So what are we carrying back home? We have a revenue of 1,25,000 and we have a cost of 62,500. What does this mean? You carry home 125 minus 62,500 is 62,500 only, or say half of that. What does that mean? If your revenue generated is same pre-COVID to post-COVID era, just with a smart raise of charges selectively in a few services and coupled with increased costs also, which you are going to incur in this scenario, your carry home will rise by 25% actually. This is the beauty of this formula. Scenario 6, similar to scenario 2, the fall is 25%. Let's suppose your say revenue is down to 75,000 from 1 lakh. Now we apply the Pareto principle of 24.5 or 25 to this revenue. What do we achieve? We achieve a revenue of 93,750, just rounding it out for the ease of calculation to 94,000. Again, the expenses would be half of 75, 37.5, and this is the figure we looked at it before. So the total expenses for the ease of calculation would be 47,000. Let's see the take-home income. The take-home income is 47,000. What was our earlier take-home income? We presumed 50,000. So imagine with a 25% fall in income, but with a selective raise of charges and adding of the cost, your carry home is reducing just by 6%. This is the beauty of this formula. Kindly mute, please. Kindly mute, please. Kindly mute, please. Dr. Dhruvi, please mute. Thank you. Let's take up the third scenario. 33% revenue down. And I've not mentioned the detailed calculation here. If your income decreases by 33%, your total carry home would be down by just 16%. Again, applying the formula and adding the increased costs. Scenario 8, even if your 50% income is down, with this formula applied, your carry home will reduce just by 38% comparatively. Remember, if you don't increase the charges by 50% fall, it had come down to 63%. We were just carrying home 37% actually. Now we will reduce by 37 or 38%. So we have to understand that we have to, yes, all of us have to increase the charges, but blindly increasing the charges in all the services will send across a wrong message to your practice, say your group, your target group or target audience, which I'll say. So bottom line is, even if the revenue drops by 33 or 50%, which is not actually unlikely in the post-COVID scenario, whenever we resume fully, of course, I don't wish that, but if it happens, our carry home income dip will not be that substantial if we stick to the Pareto principle system of raising the charges by applying the formula selectively in our practice. So hiking all is not going to much service, because there will be many services which you are not doing actually. You have to first calculate where you are, and we have to offer latest facilities also to the patient. We have to adhere to the latest guidelines and protocols, and they actually make a value addition in your clinic. And obviously every value addition comes at a cost, and we have to understand that part. And a marketing has a very common adage: If you can't convince them, then confuse them. So this formula is just about knowing your art and using a bit of smartness. Even say people who have been using Pareto principle, they might actually find it very say amusing to use this formula in their services actually. So what are the problems say in this? So the baseline of all these charges is record keeping. Although DCI revised guidelines in 2014, as I speak on medical legal aspects also, spoken on many platforms many a times. They were made mandatory in 2014. Still, say many clinics in India do not indulge in proper record keeping. There some of you or some many of you might be doing it, but I'm talking on a general basis. So actually to segregate where the actually 80% is coming from will be difficult. So what is the solution to that? So I believe that many smaller clinics or medium-sized clinics, the majority income is generated via the lab bills. So what they can do is they usually have the informal or the kacha lab bills with them, and they can actually have an idea where the 60 to 80% scenario comes in, and then start record keeping. Record keeping is mandatory for a period of absolutely 2 years and relatively 3 years. Why do they say so? Because the DCI Act guidelines follow the MCI. The 2 years was the time, but yes, condonation of delay was allowed by our honorable Judge Sahab or my lord, as they say in the common Indian language, say judiciary language, my lord. My lord allows sometimes a condonation of delay up to 1 year. So that is the reason the relative say maintenance of record is 3 years. So it is sometimes taken as an absolute thing also. So the people who don't have record keeping can start from there and start record keeping as such. In any case, this was actually a mandatory part as well, because for say financial part also you have to maintain your records for a period of last 6 years. I'll be discussing in the session on 8th of June with you, or 8th of July with you in the balance sheet part. But you have to understand the record of financial protocol. If you're not following the presumptive taxation, you have to maintain for 6 years from the last ITR followed, or from the last say assessment year. That means add the current one into that, it is total 7 years. So what is the catch in this formula? The catch is, the first thing is, I've taken expenses as an average of 50%, whereas in actuality where the protocols are not followed, they might be 30 to 40, or where they are followed too much say on the safer side, they're up to 60 to 70%. Yes, many of the people might be misinformed about the say equipment or the say depreciation part. Then I've kept the say figure at 50,000 and made the calculation of increase or decrease assumptions accordingly. And whereas in actuality I've reduced the say income and expense both part. Whereas as I said earlier also, there might be some fixed expenses which might be still fixed and not reduced with your decrease in income or your decrease in expenses. So only the variable ones are reduced. But yes, I've still taken the figure on the generous side, which is on the higher side for a small to medium level clinic, if I'm talking of 1 lakh, and expenses at 50% range, which will not be affected great deal with the rise or fall of revenue. Because my aim, like Rajiv sir yesterday, is just to give you a roadmap for calculation of above. It is not a sure short thing, but the thing is, I have to just give you a guideline or an idea to follow it. The rest is up to you, how you do it. So the only problem is that we indulge in the say Facebook dentistry. As I mentioned, चाहे महीने में 2 रूट कनाल कर रहे हो, लेकिन वो white lines देके we are obsessed, and we indulge in say impulsive buying sometimes. चाहे हम clinic में वो equipment use करें ना करें, just because people have used it on say Facebook, we tend to say follow the FOMO approach or the fear of missing out approach. This is where the problem comes. And then when we carry home the amount, why I'm bridging it to the investment part, then when we carry home a decent or a good amount, then the YOLO approach comes in. You only live once. But I say only one line, FOMO and YOLO approach walo, yago bhi aayega. YAGO. You also grow old. And believe me, it is tough to ask money from your kids when you grow old. And that is the basis of my next presentation, which I'll be doing. So that is the reason I wanted to say, put across this point. And all such bargain buys will have to be eliminated. When I discuss the overheads part, I always make it sure that there might be 20 things lying in your drawer, which you bought at an expo tent or a family show, थिंकिंग दैट एक पेशेंट भी आ जाएगा इसका तो पैसा पूरा हो जाएगा। वो 10,000 की ऐसी 20 चीजें अगर होंगी तो आपके पास 2 लाख रुपया ब्लॉक पड़ा है। रिमेंबर दिस पार्ट। So look at your spending pattern consumption wise. Many things bought in the hope of a good discount कि ये इकट्ठा मिल रहा, सस्ता है ले लो। जैसे वो ग्रेट इंडियन समर सेल आती है या बेस्ट प्राइस में, या किसी हम इस तरह मेट्रो में या किसी भी शॉपिंग मॉल में, बिग बाजार में, when we go we actually say go and buy. So wastage of material and expiry of say materials are the two biggest thieves in your clinic, which sometimes go unnoticed. And so the demand in the post-COVID-19 era for such things will have to be re-estimated. And whether your clinic would need a fumigator or a HEPA filter or a fogging machine or a negative ion generator, where does the buck finally settle on? Only time will tell. Whatever the guidelines finally tell us. So inventory control also assumes an equally good importance in coming times. You have to understand this part as well. So unless the above is done, the balance sheets will continue to bleed, or they'll be in the next zone. So I'll be discussing in my next session, which is technically my second, but effectively the third session in the cost part before when I take the tax liability part. So what is the carry home gyan for today? Most of us are self-employed. Those of us who are salaried in colleges, even those will not have pension. And believe me, none of us wants to die early. So we should charge well, earn well, and we should all strive to retire early. Because I believe it is difficult to lead a sorrowful old life asking for money from kids. And self-dependence is the biggest gift we can give ourselves. So remember the Yago approach, YAGO. You also grow old. Who's going to feed you then? Unless you have a free-flowing income from ancestors or ancestral income flowing in, you can have plans, whatever you want to say, switch on to. It's up to you. But for most of us, we have to really think about it. The future isn't really in our hands. If you want to burn or break your back and neck by working by, say, in the method of, say, rollerblading method, as I mentioned, or say increasing productivity by increasing the number of hours, rather than that, indulge in smart charging, the following this formula, rather than blindly increasing all the services. So this video will be there on Facebook as well. You can watch it again to understand. I believe there many of us opted for say science in 10+1 because we hated maths. And believe me, Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja is again back to haunt you with mathematics, because as I said at the start, figures and numbers will never will always give you a good idea, and they are the true, say, harbingers of success, if you may say so. So the carry home gyan is there will be always someone who charges less. If you believe that you will still want to stick to those services at the same cost, remember you're fooling yourselves. So you have to understand this part. So before I end, thank you so much. A couple of announcements as I usually make. So I did 4 Sundays of June with Underdog Squad, and many of these videos are there. So on the Underdog Dentist Squad, they are in the section as units. So many of you are a member of the squad. You might just check, all the videos are there in HD and non-HD version. So just letting you know how to do about that part. So if you go to the units, there is a skill lab section. You have all the videos. I've done 4 Sundays and a bonus session on my dad's first death anniversary on 30th June, Tuesday. So just recently, 7, 14, 21, 28 June, and then 30th June. So all those videos are there, and please watch them in sequence. Yes, they are slightly extensive than this because I've tried to keep these videos short so as to not spoil much of your Sunday evening. So because Monday is impending tomorrow to come. So go to the skill lab section. You'll get all the videos, and you can say watch them online. Obviously, this is one part of the video which I have dealt with you today. So what is the home exercise for today for all of you? I'll put up a Word file as well, or a PDF on the page. So analyze your total revenue for the pre-COVID period, April 19 to March 20. I'm sorry. April 19 to March 20. Luckily, the lockdown happened around about 21st March. 22 March was the Janta curfew on Sunday. So almost the March month gone. We'll believe that at least 355 days of the year were gone. So analyze your total revenue for that year. Actual, I'm talking, not the figures you give to your CA Obviously, you give the concealed figures only, most of you, if I may say so. Sorry to say, but that is the truth. So analyze your, and what effect does it has on your total future. I'll be dealing in the third session. So analyze your total revenue, analyze your total costs, your bills. आपका कितना आया, कितना गया. Then take out a monthly average. now मेरा ये income है month का. Let's suppose you had a monthly average of 1 lakh. So take that. Then from your record keeping, pick out those 20% services of 80 category which have paid you revenue. Then whose audio please mute. So then go back to the SWOT of your clinic which you sent me. There is a reason I didn't send back you your SWOT because of this. Whatever you have done, whether those 20% of services which you are doing the most and giving, which are you're doing the most and giving you 80% revenue, fall in your passion zone or not. I mean, strengths or not. Go back to that. You'll get a customized SWOT analysis answer from me maximum, but tomorrow or say Tuesday early morning you'll get. And then charter on the path of goal setting. Please mute, please mute. Then charter on the path of goal setting as wonderfully done by Dr. Rajiv Verma sir yesterday. And you'll get my SWOT answers also along with as per the description you have given. Again, I believe Dr. Nisa might differ with me on this, but what I believe is that yes, many of you might not be comfortable in disclosing your actual figures. So like the last task done with me on SWOT, you can do it. You can generate the password and save the file with the password, convert in a PDF or the say even the Word file, up to you, your choice. Then upload it on that and send me a copy on WhatsApp, because it becomes difficult for me to track things on Facebook. I am not a Facebook king, but Dr. Anisa is Facebook queen, so she can track the path. I can track on my WhatsApp. People who say send me on WhatsApp will surely get the answers, even for the last task if somebody sends it. So again, repeating the task, I'll put up the Word file. Analyze your total revenue for the month of April 19 to March 20, the whole year, the whole financial year 1920. Your total cost, your total monthly average. फिर देखिए उसमें से 20% सर्विसेज कौन सी थी that gave you 80% revenue. Then go back to your SWOT and whether those 20% fall in your passion zone or not, and then charter on the path of goal setting, or how you intend to go on the path of goal setting, coupled with the say Dr. Ajiv's teachings on this, what he did wonderfully with you yesterday. So this is my email and contact address. Most of you are familiar with me with it now. So my social media presence, as I mentioned, all are on same name by Dr. Bhavdeep only. So you can actually say go about. And then I have a YouTube channel by the same name, Dr. Bhavdeep, and I keep on posting videos for dentist education. This channel is for dentists exclusively. I really say segregate the content where I actually post about this thing. So this is for dentists only, for education of my colleagues. As I mentioned, it is my say wish and will to carry forward my dad's legacy. So it actually crept in after his death last year. So I write a column on ID Times, and as sir mentioned about vision, mission, and say goal setting and strategy, all those topics are taken in depth in the first 10 parts or so. Along with the mission, there's a say good write up on mission statement as well for what you actually stand for. So if you find it apt, you can download and read them. So all of them are on my website as well. The direct link is this to download. So the finance issues are also there if you want to download. So the finance.html is the link. Again, this presentation will be there on the say profile itself. So I have a WhatsApp group, as I mentioned in the last. So if you wish, you can be there. So, and yes, as I mentioned at the start, this session has been possible because I wanted to pay a tribute to all of you on Guru Purnima, and audience has been my biggest teacher. And courtesy your feedbacks in the icebreaker activity, it made me actually plan this session with you so that I can bridge the practice management SWOT analysis with the balance sheet part. I hope I have been partly successful in that. If fully successful, your feedbacks will tell me. So I'll really appreciate your feedbacks either here or this meeting will be ended. Of course, most of the comments will be washed off. So you can post it on the say Facebook video or in my personal chat box or in the group, wherever you feel comfortable. Thank you so much for that. And because I always welcome bouquets and brickbats both in equal measure. So thank you so much. I'll be happy to take up the queries. You can ask one by one. So whatever queries you wish to take, you wish to ask. Thank you. I'll be stopping sharing the screen and getting back to all of you. So please go on with your queries. I'll be more than happy to answer you.
So, may I ask a query?
Ji, please, please.
So, how do you take your fixed assets, which are depreciable, and take them up to calculate your overheads? How do you include your depreciable items into your yearly overheads?
I'll be explaining this part in the next, but to answer your query in short, we actually say whatever expenses we have, lab bill, material bill, assistant expenses, whatever things we add in the total cost. Then a portion of that is say added in the cost, and that portion is called as the depreciation cost, and which is actually the written down value. So let's suppose you bought two equipment of let's say your other depreciations are about 20,000 carry forward total amount, so you're adding 20,000. But this year post covid you had to buy two equipments of 2 lakhs, just again mentioning round off figures for say ease of calculation. So what you will add is 15% of each. That means 15,000 plus 15,000 plus your original figure of 20,000, which you were supposed to add, or you will add actually in the next return in 2021, which you will file in 2021. So you will add a figure of 50,000 as depreciation in that, rather than you spend 2 lakhs on that, but you will add 30,000 depreciation, 15,000 per head, because dental equipment come with a written down value of mostly with a 15% value. And that is the scenario if you buy in the first half of the year. The first half of the year is say 185 days, and which falls on 3rd of October. 3rd October is the first half of the day, or the 185th day of the year. So the clause is if you buy after 3rd October, 180 days of the remaining, so you add 50% depreciation for that year. So if you're going to buy on 4th of October, you will actually, your bill is dated that, or your account statement has a say entry of 4th October, you will automatically put in a depreciation of 7,500 instead of 50,000 or 15,000, sorry. So that is the way. In leap years, this 1 day is added. In leap year, the cutoff date is 4th October, as it was in the last year. So now this financial year is not the leap year, of course. So the leap year went in the last financial. So this is the way you calculate the total depreciation for that equipment. You don't add the total cost. हम लोग सोचते 2 लाख तो मेरा एक्सपेंस ऐड हो गया, 2 लाख नहीं हुआ. 15,000 plus 15,000, that too bought in the first half, plus your regular depreciation. Let's suppose I presume that 20%. So 20 plus 15 plus 15, आप 50,000 अपनी costing में डालेंगे. आपकी added cost है इस साल की, if every other figure remains same, 30,000. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Very clear. Oh, one more question regarding depreciation. Really, really sorry, but even my CA couldn't answer this.
Bolo.
If I do not want to claim depreciation this year, can I carry it forward to the next year?
Ma'am, the thing is the entries match करनी जरूरी होती हैं. Why do I say so? When you spend amount above 10,000, you are not allowed a cash transaction. If you spend above 10,000 in digital mode, then only it is permissible as expenses. I'll be dealing in third part on this. Then only it is permissible as expenses. So अगर बैंक की एंट्री आपकी कट गई है 4 अक्टूबर को या 2 अक्टूबर को, तो सॉरी 2 अक्टूबर तो हॉलिडे होते हैं, पर उससे अगर आपकी बैंक की एंट्री कट गई है तो आपको इस साल में लेना ही पड़ेगा. द अदर वे इज फॉलो द प्रिजम्पटिव सिस्टम ऑफ टैक्सेशन, जिसमें आपकी सारी फिगर्स इज प्रिज्यूम्ड एट 50% एंड द डेप्रिसिएशन इज इंक्लूडेड इन दैट.
And the depreciation is
included in the presumptive mode of taxation. Yes. So this is the reason assume, because Facebook पे बहुत सारी चीजें आंसर नहीं होती in that mode. That is the reason I wanted many of you to log in over here so that you can ask the things which are not clear to you.
But you cannot do presumptive tax if your income is above 1 crore.
Yes, you can fall in that, but believe me, 80% of the India falls in the range of 2.5 to 50 lakhs. That is the range for presumptive taxation, and 50 lakhs means 4,16,666 per month. And 80% of the Indian dentist with a single or a twin chair setup fall into that. I believe very strongly. And my target group for this discussion is that small target group, that big target group of small to medium level clinics. Yes, please. Any other queries? Somebody else was about to ask something. Okay, Dr. Radha Roth. Sir, by how much should we increase treatment charges every year? And this is to be done for all treatments, or 80-20 rules applies here also? Ma'am, as an annual figure, I always believe that 10% or 15% should be the raise. Again, I follow the Pareto principle in that as well. But yes, to sternly follow it in the higher zone, it stumbled upon, this idea stumbled upon me in the lockdown period itself, when I actually knew about the costs, total costs which are going to increase. So that is the way. But yes, you can do it in every year. This is a smart way of calculation, because thereby you increase charges of only a few services, yet you achieve the more than desired result. Any other queries? Any other feedback, any other query you want to ask? Because I know you'll have to watch, some of you might have to watch the video second time again to have a better understanding of this.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Ji.
Sir, can you share a format of record keeping?
I'll be sharing in the next one. That is there in that presentation already. I'll be sharing balance sheet also in that. I'll be sharing a format of record keeping in that also. Dr. Mihir Shah says, if I have alternative source of income like dividend from my shares, my return was rejected for presumptive taxation. Yes, if you have, say, capital gain, no, not the dividend part. Dividends were tax free till last year, till the March 20. They were tax free. It is only from this financial year that dividends will be taxable in the hands of public. Earlier, they were taxable in the hands of the companies. So the dividend would not have been rejected before. It will be rejected from this year, say 2021 onwards. So only the capital gains from mutual funds are there. If you have any capital gains, then you can't file the presumptive taxation. You have to file the, say, normal ITR 3 for that. What is ITR 1, 2, 3, 4? I'll be telling you in the next session. This was basically
So
to bridge the gap.
I didn't understand this. Can you repeat this, please?
Dividends were not taxable. They were tax-free till March 2020. So your return would not have been rejected for presumptive taxation because of that. And if there are any capital gains which were taxable, that only comes from mutual funds sometimes, and that too above the amount of 1 lakh. And that is also if the indexation is applied on that. So for next, it will be their capital gains part. Yes, if yes, you recollected now, it was capital gains. You mentioned it in the chart. So dividend will be taxable from this year. Even up to 5,000 will attract a TDS now from the government side, and will be, say, mentioned in the Form 26 AS as well. I'll be dealing these parts in the next session, surely. So because if I directly threw the bomb on you next session, you must have been surprised कि sir आपने session तो लिया लेकिन हमें कुछ समझ नहीं आया. So this was actually intended to bridge a gap between those two things. So
it's better to change all your mutual funds from dividend payout to growth now. Would you think?
That is a very, say, tricky question for many people, because people always have a different goals for that. Those who are opting for dividend, they have some short-term goals in their mind as regard financial activity. Some of people have a good shares or good mutual funds, say, then they'll opt for the dividend option. But for other people, reinvestment of the growth is a better option, of course. Because when let's suppose the two mutual funds you invested in at 10 rupees, 10,000 you bought for growth option, 10,000 you bought for the dividend option. 1 year down the line, the mutual funds were at 3 rupees. Oh, sorry, 13 rupees. So the gain was 3,000. 3,000 if you 13,000 if you bought it at say face value of 10 rupees. So the gain was about 3,000. But for a dividend option, there will be some deduction in the amount from the company side also. So you will not get actually, and your whatever you have been paid plus the cost added will be reduced to that, and the growth will happen from that. So let's suppose the company pays you 2 rupees dividend. Your cost will be at something about 10 point, it'll be 10.80 or 10.85. Effectively, you are paying 2.15 or 2.20. out of that 2 rupees dividend, you are paying some cost to the company as well. Whereas in the growth, that 3 is reinvested as their potential again for growth again. And this will grow again from scratch part. That is also already in the compounding mode. That is where the growth option is always better, no doubt.
True. Thank you, sir. This has been really helpful, extremely
Sure.
helpful.
Anyone else with any kind of queries, or I finish this session? Okay. Should I close this? Okay,
Thank you, sir.
I'll be expecting your feedback, and I'll be expecting the task activity. The task has a 24-hour deadline as usual. So by 7 p.m. you have to submit the task. So I'll be mentioning everything on the Word file. Similar to the last time, I'll be mentioning. I'll be uploading this file on the Facebook, our page only, the Bounce Back Give Back page. And I'll be mentioning, as I said, many of you will not be very comfortable giving your actual figures. So I don't mind that. Give me a password generated file and send me a copy on the WhatsApp as well, because for me to segregate the matter over there, it'll be slightly difficult part. So thank you so much. I end this session here. So thank you all for sparing your Sunday evening with me. So bye-bye. Take care, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.